Hey guys, Attorney Walter Knott. I hope all is well. I know that you're doing better than me because I'm covered in poison ivy and very, very miserable because of it. But let's get right into this. The national interest, basically on September 1st, 2021, talked about an interesting idea that Biden had, President Biden. The idea was that essentially he wanted to give Social Security disability benefits to those who have long COVID. Let's talk about this. Social Security and Joe Biden has a long COVID problem. Social Security has long said that to qualify for disability benefits, someone must have suffered their illness for 12 consecutive months. That's a simple, basic rule, right? First rule of the 5 elements: can't be earning more than SGA. Second rule, impairment's got to last 12 months. Cool. Okay. Earlier this month, we looked at the question of what Social Security can do for survivors of what's known as long COVID. When coronavirus symptoms continue to affect some sufferers of the virus for weeks or months after their initial infection. So they defined long COVID as people who continue to suffer from it even after the infection. President Biden said earlier this summer that long COVID could soon qualify as a disability under federal law. We're bringing agencies together to make sure Americans with long COVID who have a disability have access to the rights and resources that are due under the disability law, which includes accommodations and services in the workplace and school and our healthcare system so they can live their lives in dignity, the president said in July. We certainly have seen an increase of claims because of COVID-related issues, including long haulers. An advocate who handles Social Security disability claims told CNBC this summer. That person added that while some in that situation have been awarded benefits, the majority of those who have been people with lingering complications from being put on ventilators. A recent op-ed chided the government for not doing enough for sufferers of long COVID. Writing for the Duluth News Tribune, attorney W. Christopher Freiberg called for the government, and specifically the Social Security Administration, to do more for those suffering from long-term COVID symptoms. President Joe Biden recognized this earlier this summer at a press conference marking the 31st anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act. He noted that in some cases, long-haul COVID-19 can rise to the level of a disability that requires workplace accommodations. Freiberg wrote, however, the Social Security Administration, which millions of Americans rely on for income replacement when they can no longer work, has remained virtually silent on the subject of long-haul COVID-19. You would think you'd be hearing from the new Commissioner Kijikazi, on this. He noted that Social Security has long said that to qualify for disability benefits, someone must have suffered their illness for 12 consecutive months. We're now seeing COVID-19 long haulers who meet this requirement, and in December, the agency issued an emergency memorandum stating that it will flag disability applications that allege disability due to long COVID-19, but nothing else has come out about how these claims will be reviewed. Long COVID he went on to accuse the agency of attempting to shoehorn long COVID into existing rules about other illnesses. This marks yet another failure of the federal government's response to the pandemic. COVID-19 is a novel. Oh, guys, wait a minute. Let me pop out the chat here. Let me make sure everything's going okay. I guess there's nobody in here. I guess there's maybe a few. All right. Well, either way, no problem. This marks yet another failure of the federal government's response to the pandemic. COVID-19 is a novel disease with novel long-term symptoms, and Social Security must institute new rules immediately to better serve those who can no longer work due to the long COVID-19, he wrote. Stephen Silver, technology writer for the National Interest, is a journalist who basically wrote on this topic. So what they're saying here, very simply putting it, as simple as can be, is that essentially, making it, oh, okay, good. Hi, Brenner, I see you there. Essentially, what's happening is people with COVID are potentially, in their long-term impairments that result from it thereafter, reaching the levels of a severe disability or extreme disability. And President Biden is saying, hey, we need to acknowledge these people. Now, with that said, many individuals, howdy, Sandra. I know I have specifically, I have the medication specifically for this stuff, but I mean, it's so bad. I'm crusty at this point. It's just miserable with this poison ivy. So the point here that we're looking at is President Biden, I think, made a commitment that he didn't follow through on enough with. I think we should have seen through his recent pick, Commissioner Kijikazi, more communication specifically about how President Biden wants to support those who have COVID-19 symptoms in the long run. Now, let's talk about some of the basic COVID-19 symptoms that people are experiencing. that continue after them having the actual virus. So, first and foremost, we see all kinds of things. We see neurological issues, we see cardiovascular issues, we see sometimes respiratory issues, but most of the time they do not rise to the level of being something that somebody could claim a severe disability with, meaning that essentially they couldn't work a full-time job because of these impairments. Now, some people, and I have a couple of them, have been successful with, post-COVID. Essentially, they are resulting symptoms from the impairment, from the viral issue. My whole big theory here is that there's a lot of advertising, a lot of, policy talk about supporting those individuals who essentially could potentially go ahead and benefit from receiving disability benefits. But the problem is there's no guidelines. There's nothing that's dictating to us specifically as to what's going to be happening with this whole scenario. So if I go over to Google and I type in long COVID SSA, right? Let's see. Yeah, it comes under guidance on long COVID. It's disability under the ADA. But that, I mean, the bottom line here is there's just not much on this. There's not much for guidance of it. There's not much for specifically what's going to happen in the future with it. They say that they're going to go ahead and red tag them. But here's the thing. All right, so let's say that they red tag them, right? Do they fit into the compassionate allowance listings category? They couldn't. They couldn't. They're not severe enough usually. Do they fit into, where they get picked up by another group and that group does a whole review of them and then maybe their claim goes faster? Why would their claim go faster than other people who get a different virus? There's just no guidance. There's no direction with this. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but we haven't seen or heard much from Commissioner Kijikazi. So like if I Google Commissioner Kijikazi, the new commissioner put in by Biden's administration, what we get are your basic things. She's got a big award coming up, which I'm going to be attending digitally. But the bottom line is this, there's just not much on her. There's not much released. I mean, she did the usual releases that a commissioner does. Here's the new compassionate allowance listings that are coming out. Yay. But there's just no direction. There's no communication. It's weird. I expected there to be more. I expected disabled people to be championed through this administration. It's been anything but that. So this is what I'd like to say to you guys. It's going to be a short video. I just wanted to let you know what I'm seeing is a lot of virtue signaling on behalf of the current White House without any real direction. It's not effective leadership. And I think they could do a lot for the disabled. I think they could do a lot for the retired, but they're just not doing it. So even when they promised. So anyways, guys, I will catch you a little bit later. I'm sorry that this isn't a long video, but I've got to go to bed because I just hit the printer. I've got to go to bed because I've got to wake up early to go ahead and work with the homeless. Every Wednesday I work with the homeless in Orlando. I will catch you later. Have a wonderful night, and thank you so much for attending. Alrighty, guys. I'll catch you later. Bye-bye.